Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video is going to be the next installment in our community replay series. And this one features the TheRealSenpai of the MIA clan playing in the Yamato, the Tier 10 Japanese battleship. He's divisioned up with his buddy Scary Snowman playing in the Minotaur, the Tier 10 British light cruiser, and they're playing some domination here on the map Trap. So if you'd like to send a replay in to us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, at gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post-game screenshots, a brief description of the battle, and also, since we started our new match analysis series, if you would like that to be used for that series, then please mention that in the replay submission as well. So the Yamato here in World of Warships. This is probably one of our most, if not our most featured ship on the channel. Puddin and Spider have both had some great games in it, and also it's been featured, I think, 2 or 3 times as well by other various entries into our community replay series, and for good reason. This is the ship that is, well, pretty much like the Tiger is in World of Tanks. It's one of those ships that you just want to get because it's so iconic, it's so famous, and here in World of Warships it is one of the best battleships tier for tier in the game due to the combination of its armor and its guns. Now, the armor, yes, I know it does have a very high citadel, but it has some of the thickest armor in the game. And not just on the belt as well, your turrets are very well protected too. And this thing, when angled properly, is able to bounce every shell in the game other than another Yamato shooting at it. Because, of course, these guns are 18.1 inches, and that is the magic number, around 461 millimeters, of being able to overmatch 32 millimeters of armor, which is what you find on the bow and the stern of all the Tier 8 plus battleships. So, unless another Yamato is shooting at you, if you angle properly, you're going to be able to bounce all of the shells that come your way or have minimal damage. And when you combine that with these troll guns that have amazing penetration, the best range of 26.6 kilometers of any battleship in the game, and so much alpha damage, 14,800 on a citadel, you just have what battleships need. A good battleship in this game will have good armor and good guns. And this Yamato probably epitomizes that to the fullest extent. Now, is it the best Tier 10 battleship? In my opinion, no. Things like the Conqueror have supplanted it just because of the concealment and the HE and all that nonsense. But even the Montana and the Grosse Kurfürst, those battleships are also just as capable, if not more so, than the Yamato in certain situations. But when it does come to medium to long range combat, look no further than this Japanese brute. It has the best Sigma value in the game as well at 2.1. And the salvos that you're going to see throughout this game, whether or not they land massive damage, just notice how accurate these guns are. So he's heading down towards Alpha here at the beginning of the game, and he's looking for a shot as he shoots his guns at the Friedrich de Grosse, who's 21.5 kilometers away. Now, I must note, during this replay, he takes extensive use of hitting the Z key, like he did right there, to follow the shells in on the target. So if it does get annoying, I pardon you for that, but that's something that he likes to do. So for the purposes of this replay, you'll just have to deal with it. So, again, he's making his way down to Alpha. A little bit of map strategy here on Trap. Generally speaking, the team that spawns to the southeast, making an A-B push is the right move. However, this is one of the few maps in the game that, based off of the way the teams spawn, going A and C is not a bad idea. Again, depending on if the forces are separated properly. And what you have a lot of the times is the shells falling on the Kutuzov. There we go, about 20,000 damage with one citadel. What you have is sometimes the game will split your forces evenly, and you'll have 6 guys spawn closer to A and spawn 6 guys closer to C. So in that case, going A and C is not bad, but trying to get into the middle early on in the game is extremely dangerous, especially so for this Hindenburg, which does not have the best concealment in the world. And of course, the TheRealSenpai is going to throw his shells downrange at him. The shell's falling on the target, and unfortunately, he was just a tad short, but still one shell managed to penetrate for about 5,000 damage. And the reason why I say going towards the middle in the early part of the game is dangerous is because what you're going to see happen to Senpai here, and I don't think he realized it at the time, but oh boy, he took an 8k salvo there from the Hindenburg right after he took an Alabama salvo that did about 10,000 damage, and he's actually going to lose quite a bit of hit points here because of course the Kutuzov was able to smoke up as he drops 2 over penetrations for about 3,000 damage there on the Hindenburg. He's going to get chunked here very, very hard. And it's going to cause him to play very passively for the rest of the game, and it's going to also rely on him and his teammate to be able to put themselves in the best position possible. So that's the reason why I wanted to feature this replay, because he's going to make a very large mistake here. And I did cover this in one of my tactics and strategy videos about getting chunked early and losing a lot of your hit points and still being able to have a massive impact on the game. I will provide the link for that in the description below if you haven't seen it already. But you can see here he's already down to about half health, and he is on fire. His salvo that he blind fired into the smoke did not manage to hit anything. And right here, he continues to burn, and he's just getting peppered by what I would presume is the IFHE-infused shells on that Kutuzov. And at this point, if he doesn't get smoked up soon by his buddy in the Minotaur, he is going to die. You can see here, the Yamato, as he does go undetected, well, oh my gosh, look at that. 6,000 damage right there. That salvo that came in right at the rear of the ship. Just absolutely ridiculous, the damage that, that it can do. He's down to 34,000 hit points, and he is still burning in 2 places. However, he is doing the smart play, and he is not using his repair just yet. The shells fall in, and there we go. He manages another Citadel on that blind shot. But right here, Scary Snowman is going to come in. He was slowing down. He was waiting for him to get over here. And to be honest with you, this is a very selfless play that this Minotaur is making. Obviously, the Minotaur needs the smoke more so than anybody else because it only deploys for about 7 seconds. And because that thing is so fragile, it needs the smoke. But a very, very selfless play right there by his friend. So I got to give it to you there, Snowman. That was a very nice play that you made for Senpai. And it's going to allow him, with about a quarter of his hit points remaining, to have a massive impact on the outcome of this game. So the position that he's in right now inside the smoke is, again, getting this close to B at the early stages of the game is generally not a good idea. But because he has access to the smoke, he's going to be able to take advantage of it for the time being. And you can see that with some of the blind shots that he tossed in there, I know he had at least one Citadel. He was able to chunk down the Hindenburg quite nicely. And that's a very important kill. The Hindenburg, when left unchecked, has some extremely scary DPM because, of course, it has IFHE for free, which doesn't necessarily help it out all that much. But the fact of the matter is that thing can get anywhere from 2 to 4K consistently with its HE salvo. And with the rate of fire of 8.8 seconds, when you spec it properly, it's pretty terrifying to deal with. However, the TheRealSenpai's next shot goes flying in, and he manages to take care of business. 2 shells penetrating, and he manages to kill the Tier 10 German heavy cruiser, picks up his first kill of the game, and he's up to about 60,000 points of damage. So nothing spectacular, but this is the start of something really, really nice. So the score is now 375 to 525. He's looking for a blind shot here into the smoke at the enemy Kutuzov, which he manages to do. And we'll see if these shells hit. You can see there, look at that accuracy. That is fantastic stuff. The shells fall in. Unfortunately, he was a bit long, I believe, but still, that's the kind of accuracy you can get with this ship. And I gotta say, he wasn't even targeting the Kutuzov that was in the smoke, and he was still able to do some pretty nice stuff. You can also see that he did use his heal, so he's up to about 41,000 hit points as he lobs another salvo over the island, trying to hit Captain Chris of STW in his line. Unfortunately, he does not manage to do so, but it does appear Senpai has a bit of a secondary build on this Yamato. You can see the shells are going down range about 10 kilometers, and he is actually hitting that Friedrich de Grosse quite a bit. He's up to 22 secondary hits, and that certainly is going to pile on. He gets the next shot as he sets yet another fire with the secondaries right at the bow of that German battleship. He does about 6,400 damage. You can see, though, that 2 of the shells did ricochet. Those German BBs do have a pretty well-armored bow, to be honest with you. It has more than just the 32 millimeters. There are some stretches of it, if I'm not mistaken, that are like 50 to 70 millimeters. So if you don't hit it in the exact right spot, that's where you're going to have those ricochets. So he decides to aim a little bit farther back, and once more, Snowman hooking him up with another smoke screen. Again, a very selfless play, and there we go. He manages to aim just far enough back, and he gets almost 14,000 points of damage. And he's also got that fire continuing to burn on, it looks like, the bow and possibly the superstructure area of that German battleship. So, for all intents and purposes, that guy is going to be dead here rather soon. He's now looking for a shot at the Kutuzov, who just went undetected. I think he aimed just a little bit too far ahead of that guy, so it doesn't appear that these shells are going to hit. But you guessed it, he's probably going to try to follow the shells in, and he does manage 1 over penetration. So his damage now at this point has spiked to almost 110,000 points at this moment, but the scores are still not looking very good for his team. It's 422 to 639. The enemy team has still been in control of B for quite a few minutes now, and even with the kill about to come here on the Friedrich de Grosse, it's not looking good because you can see the enemy team has stuffed almost their entirety with the exception of a couple of destroyers inside the B caps. So you can see his team is also well off to the western side of the map. There's the Tirpitz, the Iowa, the Grosser Kurfürst, who is in no position to shoot in Alpha. So, yeah, at this point, it is not looking very good whatsoever. And he only manages about 3,000 damage on Hank right there. Give a shout out to you, good sir. You are a fantastic gentleman. So, he really can't do much because of all of the hit points that he lost early in the game. He really just has to stay here and try and deal damage from range. And as I mentioned earlier, that's something that the Yamato is extremely good at and is, you know, what you'd expect out of the Japanese battleship line. But, yeah, he just can't push into B right now. There's too much stuff there. But kaboom! He manages a double Citadel on my boy Hank, taking care of his second kill of the game and pushing his damage total to about 135,000. And look at that food that just came around the corner. There was a Montana close to full health, full broadside to him at 11 kilometers. The smoke just runs out from the Minotaur, and oh boy, the Shimakaze appears 5.7 kilometers away, right off the stern of his ship. He gets a pretty nice salvo that does 15,000 points of damage, but unfortunately, he does not get a Citadel on that guy. That lowered Citadel coming in handy. You can see his friend Scary Snowman is going to be able to deal with the Shimakaze. However, the Shimmy has dumped all of his torpedoes out at him, so he's going to have to be very careful in not taking a torpedo on the rear section of the ship. You can see here that they are coming in at some rather odd angles, so he has to be very patient here. He does manage to get a Citadel on the Montana, though, and drops 30,000 points of damage into that guy. A very nice salvo. But unfortunately, while he was paying a little bit too much attention to his shells that were going in, he's not only going to eat one Shimakaze torpedo on the port side of the bow, but he overturns a little bit and is going to take one yet again on the right side of the ship, right at the midsection. But luckily, both of the torpedoes managed to hit that juicy torpedo belt. And because the Yamato gets somewhere around 50% for the torpedo belt, it doesn't do that much damage. Both torpedoes dealing about 9,000. So he still has a decent amount of hit points left, but you can see that most of the damage that he's taken has been Citadels or torpedo hits. So he really doesn't have that much hit points to work with at the moment. But he does get his next salvo off, shooting all three of his turrets in rapid succession at the enemy Kutuzov. So hopefully he'll be able to get the kill here. He's going to follow his rear turret in, gets a couple of hits, chunks him down to 1,000 hit points, and manages to pick up the high caliber. But unfortunately, his rear turret was not aimed properly, and all three of the shells managed to straddle that T-rate premium Soviet light cruiser. However, it looks like he's going to kick the bucket here, and yes, indeed, Scary Snowman's Minotaur manages to pick up his, I don't know what kill it is, but he picks up the kill, killing that Tier 10 British light cruiser. And at this point, their team has a decisive advantage in hit points. So it is now high time to get into Objective Bravo. They've managed to pull the scores back a decent bit. It is 606 to 747. There's still 7 minutes and 47 seconds left in the game. There is still plenty of time to take care of business. The first thing that needs to happen right here is the Shimakaze needs to get taken care of. And once again, his buddy Scary Snowman manages to take care of that Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. Now you can see here, why is the camera zooming in all the way to the extent of his range, which is set at a ridiculous 32 kilometers. When you have the spot plane up, sometimes when you hit the shift key or you scroll in, it will take your aim all the way to the very extreme edge of the gun's range. So that's why it did that. And it's a bit annoying, and sometimes you have to deal with it. And again, it can be annoying, but hey, whatever. So it's 613 to 791. His team, you can see the friendly Kaba is making his way. He should be getting on B here rather soon. There's a Yamato that's almost at full health at 95,000 hit points, but that Freddy, oh, pardon me, he didn't die earlier. He was on like 700 hit points, but somehow he was able to make it out of Dodge alive, but it does appear that he will be dying here shortly, and this time I actually mean it. You can see that the enemy Fletcher got chunked down hardcore by the Khabarovsk, and then the Kurfürst's fire was actually able to take care of business, but unfortunately for his team, the Fletcher managed to torpedo the Khabarovsk. So they're still trading ships, and it's not just competitive where this is a problem. When you trade ships, but the enemy team has the cap advantage, it only works towards the enemy team's favor, because even if you roughly even out on the kills, they still have the 2-to-1 cap advantage, and they're going to be getting 3 extra points over you. every 5 seconds. So it's not good, the position that they're still in, but it's still tenable. This still can happen. What needs to happen is that Kerfurst needs to take care of that Friedrich de Grosse, who's still alive over there at about 8,000 hit points. However, the Iowa is in front of him and is going to be moving on to the objective at Bravo. And that's actually going to set himself up, Senpai here, really nicely as he misses his salvo on Captain Chris, because the Yamato does get detected, that 95,000 hit point guy, and he will be moving in towards the B cap. So hopefully for Senpai, he'll be able to get some nice salvos into that guy, because the Iowa will take as the bait, so to speak. You see some high explosive shells going in on the Freddy over there. He's at 3,900 hit points, and when I was recording this replay, I was wondering why that guy was not being shot at by everybody else. But you can see Senpai's buddy Snowman was shooting at him, and then the Turpits manages to take care of him, and his team has also gotten on the objective at Bravo now. The Iowa has moved in there about 15 seconds ago. So at this point, all they got to do is kill this Yamato that's right here, and they should be okay point-wise. You can see the Kerfurst is making a very bold play over there. Excuse me. Trying to take down the Lion and the Z-46. Not sure how that's going to go for him, but Senpai's next salvo once again is short, and it's actually back-to-back salvos here where I think he's just misjudged the speed of the Yamato. And in these critical situations where the game is on the line, you got to be able to put those salvos on target. However, his team does have a 5-ship to 3-ship advantage at this point, so hopefully that Kerfurst at the very least is going to be able to chunk those guys down heavily. You can see that the Z-46 over there is losing quite a bit of his hit points, probably from the secondaries. That guy was at about, I'd say 4/5 health when that Kerfurst was over there. He's making a very bold charge right next to the line. He's going to go down here shortly, I believe. But again, he's going to be able to chunk that line down to a very low amount of hit points. And Snowman is also going to be able to get some nice shots into that line as well. Senpai's next salvo, once again, looked a little short, but this time he managed to find the Citadel, getting his Confederate and dealing over 16,000 points of damage. It pushes his damage to 216,000, so a very nice performance damage-wise here by Senpai, but there is still plenty more that needs to be done. The enemy team has 930 points at this moment, but his team is about ready to capture Bravo here. He gets the full broadside out at the Yamato, and there we go. 4 pens, 17,000 points of damage. And the Iowa decided it was a great idea to go broadside to that Yamato at point-blank range. I have no idea why. And he certainly got chunked very, very heavily for it. And now the Yamato is trying to swing his forward guns into play to potentially delete Senpai here. He's got to start turning a little bit to starboard, but fortunately for him, his reload is going to be able to take care of business. He managed the one Citadel, taking care of that Tier 10 Japanese battleship, picking up his 3rd kill of the game. He's up to 250,000 points of damage. A very, very nice performance here. But unfortunately, the Iowa did use his damage con quite some time ago, so he is going to burn to death here and give that Yamato a nice flesh wound achievement. So it's just not looking good. It could have been better, but then Captain Chris is only on 8,000 hit points. So once again, Scary Snowman is going to have to bail his buddy out. But hey, they're in the division. They both have had some very nice games here. So if Scary Snowman is able to get this kill and Senpai gets on the Charlie Cap, there's only 2 minutes and 42 seconds left. But assuming the line goes down and Senpai is able to get on Charlie, they should be able to win the game with the amount of time that's left. However, he is also turning his rear turret into play. The Turpits does manage to take out Captain Chris in his line. So a very nice shot there over the island, as a matter of fact, by that Turpits. And it's 8:17 to 9:04. The Senpai is detected right here. And then, inexplicably, the Z-46 gets too close and gets detected by aircraft. So not really sure what's going on with that play. I really don't have any explanation for it. And then Senpai manages to take him out. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 721,000 credits received and 13,300 total EXP. He managed to pick up Confederate, Dreadnought, and High Caliber, and a couple other of the achievements for the 2-year anniversary. He dealt 255,000 points of damage, a very nice job there. With 48 shell hits and 7 citadels, he sank 4 enemy boats, had 1 assisted base capture, and ended up with 163 secondary hits. Taking a look at the team score, 2,958 base EXP. Very nice right there. However, again, Scary Snowman, his division mate, having a very nice game himself with 3 kills, 1,857 base EXP, but most importantly, smoking him up when he needed to be able to keep Senpai in the fight. Taking a look at the detailed report, 220,000 points of damage dealt with the AP, 19,000 with the secondaries, and a further 15,000 dealt with the fires. A rather low 1.6 million potential damage, but again, because he got chunked so heavily at the beginning of the game, he did need to take advantage of the smoke, which he was able to do so. So with that being said, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, have a great day. I really hope you enjoyed this replay. Please keep sending your stuff in to us. We really do enjoy showcasing your content. And also consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And have a great day.